Pedophilia, which says child love, has nothing to do with the abuse of children. These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture because you have adrenalized blood, the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world. It's also the use of children for harvesting body organs. And then you have ritual ceremonies and ritual murder, as well as incidental murder. That most organizations that end up being used to prey on children, Oxfam is a recent example, all of the United Nations organizations, the Boy Scouts of America, all of the child services agencies across the United States of America, they did not start out as organizations to prey on children, but they attract pedophiles. And ultimately, pedophiles end up rising in the ranks and controlling those organizations, so that an organization that initially started out in the service of children becomes an organization that is in fact hunting children.
People only knew the scale of what goes on in the world. When I start investigating these family bloodlines that are behind all this, invariably you hit pedophilia and Satanism. The scale of it is absolutely vast. I was traveling America, and what I did is I called the federal government and I wanted figures for the number of children went missing every year. And they said, we don't keep them. And they said, you're gonna have to ring every state. So I started ringing every state. I don't know, I got to about 10 and 15. And I'm in such a figure by then of children going missing. It was staggering. And this goes into the very top of society. They steal children to order. They will be asked for a child, maybe blue-eyed and blonde-haired with certain characteristics. They will then scan society looking for that child of the client, and then they will steal them. It's a cesspit.
From the earliest layers of human civilization, long before written scripture or organized theology, there existed a deep and terrifying belief that the forces governing life, reign, fertility, war, survival, demanded something of equal value in return. In a world where death was common and survival uncertain, people did not think in terms of symbolic devotion. They thought in terms of exchange. If the gods controlled life, then life itself became the highest currency. And in that system of thinking, nothing was more valuable than a child, especially the firstborn, the one who carried the future of the family, the lineage, the inheritance, the promise. To give that up was to give everything. That is where the root of child sacrifice begins, not first as cruelty, but as a distorted form of devotion born out of fear, ignorance, and a desperate need to control the uncontrollable. As civilizations formed in the ancient Near East, these practices became more structured and ritualized. Among the Canaanites and Phoenicians, one of the most infamous expressions of this belief system became associated with a figure known as Moloch. Whether Moloch was originally a literal deity or the name of a type of sacrifice is still debated by scholars. But what is not debated is the horror tied to the rituals described in ancient texts and later writings. Children were offered in fire, sometimes in times of national crisis, sometimes as vows, sometimes as acts believed to secure favor, protection, or prosperity. The Valley of Hinnom, later known as Gehenna, became a symbol of this abomination, a place where the cries of children and the smoke of sacrifice rose together. Archaeological discoveries in places like Carthage have uncovered burial sites, tophets, filled with urns containing the remains of infants, many of them burned, reinforcing that this was not just myth or exaggeration, but something that truly occurred in certain societies. But something profound happens when you move into the biblical narrative. The same cultural backdrop exists, the same practices are known, the same expectations of gods demanding blood are present. Yet the God of Israel steps into that environment and begins to dismantle the entire system. The story of Abraham and Isaac is not a command to normalize sacrifice, but a confrontation with it. At the very moment the knife is raised, it is stopped. That interruption is not just about Abraham, it is a declaration to the world that this God does not operate like the others. He does not require the blood of children. He provides the substitute himself. From that point forward, the scriptures repeatedly condemn the act of offering children, calling it detestable, something that never entered the mind of God. In a world where sacrificing your child was seen as the ultimate act of loyalty, the biblical God rejects it entirely. That is not a small theological shift, it is a complete overturning of an ancient system of fear-based worship. Now, when we move from the ancient world into the modern one, the form changes, but the underlying issue becomes more subtle and in many ways more hidden. Today, we are not dealing with societies openly building altars and placing children on them in public ritual. What we are dealing with instead are documented and very real systems of child exploitation, trafficking, abuse, illegal adoption networks, forced labor, and sexual exploitation. These are not myths. They are confirmed by investigations, law enforcement, and global organizations. Children are still being treated as commodities in certain criminal systems, still being used for profit, still being stripped of identity and protection. That part is real, and it is deeply disturbing on a pattern that is observable across time. Child sacrifice did exist. It was real, brutal, and tied to specific ancient religious systems. Today, while the rituals themselves are not practiced in the same verified way, the exploitation of children remains a serious and urgent issue that demands attention. The connection is not in secret ceremonies hidden at the top of society, but in the enduring reality that whenever humanity loses its moral center, the most vulnerable, especially children, are the ones who suffer first.